Good afternoon and welcome to CVM Live, the noon edition on CVM Television, online at cvmtv.com. And remember, you can download our CVM TV Smart app from the Google Play Store. I'm Whitney Levy. We begin with breaking news. Happening now, residents of Tivoli Gardens are staging a demonstration outside the Ministry of Justice, demanding compensation for damage suffered during the 2010 Tivoli incursion. The residents are calling for a meeting with the Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, while pointing to the position they have taken in not accepting a cut-off date for submission of documents and compensation.
We are insisting and we are demanding that there can be no cut-off date when the state infringes on the rights of people. There's no cut-off date. There's no statute of limitations where that is concerned. And the matter must be addressed. It has to be addressed. All right? The ministry can't say it's cut off. They have to understand what happened and why 2,000 people were not compensated.
Okay, so feel to me, what is the next step forward?
Well, the people will decide. If Mr. Chuck wants to be embarrassed on a daily basis, then he will be embarrassed on a daily basis. But he has to meet with the people. He has.
One of the residents says she has followed the process, but up to this point, no compensation is forthcoming.
I follow it up because I come on TV and in a newspaper too. I follow it up. You understand? I follow it up right through. I follow it up and nothing. When I go to the community center, they say my name down on the list. All my name that on the list, I'm going to get 2 shots and my name down on the list. You understand? Even my mother also shoot up. My mother window shoot up in the kitchen, the living room. I be a shot all from the house.
As the state of emergency enters its 7th day, there are more concerns for relatives and detainees affected by the state of emergency. The Legal Aid Council initiated the process for legal representation. However, crucial regulations are still outstanding. Here's our reporter, Curtin Brown.
Access to the Freeport police station was not as free-flowing as it used to be up to Tuesday. Relatives crowded the perimeter fence and the sidewalk, also edging the busy thoroughfare. Attorneys at law among those who could enter. Based on the information which filtered out, all is not well.
I will not say at this time that the conditions look bad, but more can be done on the part of the government and civil society to ensure that while these gentlemen are detained, that their health is being taken care of.
Note the joy from this woman as her loved one emerged from the precinct of the station. As relieved as he must have been to be out of confinement, he was less emotional. It was persons like him which led Councillor McCurdy to the location.
My representation today are for persons who are detained under reasonable suspicion of other crimes who were just released after a successful habeas corpus application before the St. James Parish Court.
But that's not to say he will not avail himself to the benefit of those now desperately seeking guidance.
The Cornwall Bar Association, including myself, we are here, we are on ground, we are offering our services for those who need medical assistance, those who need to contact their families. But there's very little we can do as attorneys at law unless and until the government put the proper legal framework in place for us to appeal the detention of the persons who are taken into custody under the state of emergency.
So, does this confirm arguments critical operational and legal frameworks were not ironed out in a timely way ahead of the call?
We are awaiting the Appellant Tribunal 1, and secondly, we are also awaiting the regulations to the Emergency Powers Act, which will form the basis for us to move.
Prominent Western businessman Dennis Meadows is calling for improved investigative capacity from the security forces, which he believes will act as a deterrent to violent crimes. CVM Live's Joel Crossgill reports.
Former Senator and businessman Dennis Meadows continues to propose a number of reforms which he believes will strengthen the achievements of the state of emergency.
I believe that this declaration must be sustained. The last time in 2010 when we declared one, it was the victim of narrow politics, where the then opposition sought not to support the extension. I think we dropped the ball there. I hope that good sense will prevail in this matter, and the opposition will join forces with the government to ensure that this state of emergency is sustained and, if needs be, extended to other troubled areas.
The former deputy chairman of the Firearm Licensing Authority also spoke of the investigative capacity of the police and how, if it were improved, criminals may not be as willing to risk committing their crime.
Until we improve our investigative capacity to feed the perception that anybody likely to commit a crime will be caught within 72 hours, then what we have here will continue. We must instill in the minds of these undesirables that if you commit a crime, the likelihood of you being caught within 72 hours is very high.
Nonetheless, he admits reform is needed within the constabulary force.
That is not to say that there's no problem with the police force. The police force, in my view, needs serious reformation, revamping. And in my view, I believe that while I know there are hard-working men and women in the force who get up every day with the resolve to do their job, there are a number of policemen and women out there, by their own actions, are feeding this crime. And let's be fair about it, especially in Montego Bay. Let's be real.
Joel Crosskill, CVM Live.
In a CVM Live exclusive, the sister of one of the men allegedly wanted by the St. James Police has taken to social media refuting claims that her brother is a violent person who's on the wanted list. Our reporter Nika Lewis spoke with the sister who resides in the US on Skype.
Her brother's name and picture surfaced on a controversial wanted list published recently following the declaration of a public state of emergency in St. James. Sanjay Ferguson, who turned 22 on January 17, was said to be the reputed leader of a gang called ISIS based in St. James. While the police have denied any handling in the publication of the list, this woman wants to set the record straight that her brother is not a wanted man, nor is he a gang leader or a gang member.
He's easily influenced, I can say that, but he's not a violent person. Very kind-hearted, very respectable person, and people know in his community know and love him. He grew up, he grew up in a good family. We have good values in our family, and we've never, had this type of stuff happen to us. But I know that he's in a lot of company, just like a lot of other young men, and but I guarantee you he's not a violent person.
Currently detained under the state of emergency at the Freeport lockup, she said her brother has a case before the courts for an alleged robbery and wounding with intent, of which she said he was cleared, but since then has become a target for the police. She said he was accused of the crime while he was spending time with her in the United States and had been visiting the local police daily in recent times.
You cannot put your trust in people who put out incorrect information like that to the public, and I want this to be seen by the highest person that's responsible for these pictures and policemen in St. James and the whole Jamaica. I want them to know that, look, this is what we're dealing with, and it's not right, and they need to address it. I need his picture to go out there and say that, hey, look, he's not wanted. When you see the cops, don't call it on him. The other people who are on there that's not wanted, it's unfair for them, and I grieve with the other families.
The list sent on Monday by the Police Communications Unit didn't have Ferguson's name or that of Curtis Coke, who she said she knew well and who reportedly died over 4 years ago, but was also featured on the first wanted list. Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Sir Hilary Beckles, says that the Caribbean region must have a development plan to combat economic growth resistance. CVM Live's Khadija Thomas has more in this report.
Using the words of the late St. Lucian economist Sir Arthur Lewis, the Vice-Chancellor said the problems of economic growth will dissipate once Britain repays the £20 million that was taken from the Caribbean after emancipation.
In 1834, it represented 40% of British public expenditure. The Parliament took 40% of public expenditure and gave it to the slave owners. At 40% of public expenditure, In 1834, that would represent, in today's money, £200 billion. In today's money.
He was speaking at the Vice Chancellor's Forum on Tuesday under the theme Economic Transformation with Social Growth, Arthur Lewis's contribution at the university's regional headquarters.
Because what we have seen from the Bourne report, the UNDP report, poverty continues to increase in this region. Inequality is galloping across the region. And with galloping inequality and poverty, 56 years after independence, we cannot continue to speak simply about economic growth without speaking about social growth.
Beckles added that although the former British Prime Minister David Cameron had stated that the economic issue was of the past, the reparations debate is still relevant in present-day Caribbean arguments. He said the issue of the debt should be of political concern. Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
On the international scene, it's the very softest kind of target, the charity Save the Children, carrying out vital operations to help the most vulnerable in Afghanistan. But today, hit by a major terrorist attack involving explosives and mortars. 2 people were killed and 17 injured, and the Afghan security forces are yet to state whether it is over. Here's the BBC with that report.
The international charity Save the Children under fire by insurgents. The attack began with a suicide car bomb outside the aid organization's office at around 9 in the morning, followed by gunmen entering the compound. Residents fled the area as Afghan special forces arrived to fight back. The Islamic State group said their militants carried out the attack, which killed at least 2 people and injured several more. Clashes continued for hours, a difficult and exhausting fight.
I was in my shop when I heard the gunshots and explosions, and then suicide attackers stormed the building. The situation is quite bad. I saw several dead and injured bodies.
It was around 9 a.m. when I heard gunshots first, followed by a very big explosion. I think that was a car bomb. The gunshots and explosions continued for a while, and then Afghan security forces arrived in the area.
This is the latest attack on a foreign organization in Afghanistan. Save the Children has released a statement saying they have temporarily closed all their programs and offices in the country. We remain committed to resuming our operations and life-saving work as quickly as possible. Wednesday's assault comes 4 days after Taliban gunmen stormed a luxury hotel in the Afghan capital, Kabul. 5 Taliban militants attacked Hotel Intercontinental, which lasted 15 hours and killed 22 people, including 14 foreigners killed in that attack. Last year, the International Committee of Red Cross also suspended many of its operations in Afghanistan after several of its staff were killed by ISIS militants. The group has ramped up attacks on foreign organizations as well as targets in Afghanistan in the last few months. But Afghan forces are hopeful that with the help of American special forces, they can defeat IS. Zia Shahriar, BBC News, Kabul.
Still on the international scene, thousands have been forced to flee their homes in the Philippines as the country's most active volcano continues to spew ash and lava in the air. Here again is the BBC.
Time-lapse footage of the Philippines' most active volcano. Its latest eruption shooting molten rock high into the air. Its ash cloud billowing across the landscape. Just a taste, scientists believe, of what's to come.
An eruption is now rather imminent within the next few hours or days. And it also means that the danger zone around the volcano has now been increased from 6 kilometers, it's now 8 kilometers.
Over the past few days, more than 50,000 people have evacuated, with soldiers drafted in and trucks ferrying villages to 46 camps outside the danger zone. But some have risked returning, despite the increasing activity.
My house is about 2 kilometers inside the danger zone. I know I'm not allowed back because it's dangerous, but I need my livelihood. I have no choice.
The volcano is in a largely agricultural region of the Philippines, about 300 kilometers southeast of Manila. There are no reports of injuries, but schools have been closed and flights cancelled. Mayon is a near-perfect cone, popular with tourists, almost 2.5 kilometers tall, and highly volatile, with 51 recorded eruptions. Officials are closely monitoring this latest activity. They're warning people to wear face masks and goggles as they wait to see what this volcano has in store.
We take a break on CVM Live, the noon edition. Do stay with us.